For decades, trucks were seen as tools, vehicles built to haul hay, tow trailers, and survive a hard day's work. They weren't designed for collectors, and they certainly weren't meant to fetch millions at auctions. But here's the twist. In today's world, classic trucks are becoming the hottest collectibles. As nostalgia booms, and as younger collectors who grew up around these trucks gain buying power, certain models are skyrocketing in value. Limited production runs, iconic styling, and cultural relevance are turning workhorses into gold mines. Trucks that once sat rusting on farms are now commanding six figures, and experts believe some of these icons will soon hit the million-dollar mark. Today, we're counting down 9 classic trucks that will soon be worth millions. Trucks you may have seen parked on your street decades ago, but that collectors are now scrambling to get their hands on. Number 9. Ford Bronco, First Gen, 1966 to 1977. The first-generation Ford Bronco is already one of the most talked-about collector trucks of the past decade. Built from 1966 to 1977, it was originally Ford's answer to the Jeep CJ and International Scout. It was small, rugged, and simple, the perfect off-roader for weekend warriors and outdoor enthusiasts. For years, these Broncos were used hard and put away wet. But now, they're among the hottest vehicles on the collector market. Part of the reason is styling. The first-gen Bronco had clean, boxy lines that now look timeless. Restorers love them because they're easy to customize, while purists hunt for rare original examples. The Bronco's cultural footprint also skyrocketed. From 1970s outdoor ads to its infamous connection with O.J. Simpson's white chase vehicle, the Bronco became burned into American pop culture. Celebrities like Jay Leno, Jay-Z, and even Barack Obama have been linked to owning classic Broncos, further fueling demand. Auction houses have taken notice. Restored Broncos that once sold for $10,000 in the early 2000s now routinely fetch over $100,000. Rare trims like the Sport and Ranger editions, or models equipped with V8s, can command even higher. Experts predict that the best examples, especially uncut, original paint survivors, could push into the 7-figure range within the next decade. What makes the Bronco a near certainty for million-dollar status is its cross-generational appeal. Boomers who remember them new want them for nostalgia. Millennials want them because they're stylish, capable, and cool. That combination is what drives long-term value. And while the Bronco is grabbing headlines, Chevy's C10 from the late 60s and early 70s is quietly becoming one of the fastest-rising trucks in the collector world. Number 8. Chevy C10 Action Line, 1967 to 1972. Chevrolet's C10 pickup from 1967 to 1972 is often called the Action Line, and for good reason. This was the era when trucks stopped being just farm equipment and started embracing style, comfort, and performance. Today, these trucks are darlings of the collector market, and their values are climbing fast. What makes the C10 special is its design. With its sweeping body lines, wide stance, and attractive trim packages, the C10 looked as good parked at a job site as it did cruising on Main Street. Chevy offered it in short bed and long bed versions, but the short bed fleet sides are the ones collectors crave most. Mechanically, the C10s were straightforward and durable. Small block Chevy V8s, like the 350, made them reliable, while parts availability today makes them easy to restore. That's why they've become popular for restomods, modernized classics with upgraded suspensions, LS engines, and custom interiors. Some of these builds already command over $200,000 at auctions. But even stock restorations are surging. A clean, original C10 that might have sold for $15,000 20 years ago can now bring in $75,000 to $100,000. Rare editions like the CST, Custom Sport Truck Package, or trucks with big block V8s have collectors opening their wallets wider every year. The reason the C10 is poised for million-dollar territory comes down to trend momentum. Muscle cars of the same era have already soared into seven-figure territory. The C10 shares their style and nostalgia, but is still comparatively affordable. As collectors pivot to trucks, the C10's perfect mix of looks, usability, and cultural impact make it a prime candidate to explode in value. And while the C10 is climbing fast, Dodge's legendary Power Wagon, born from World War II toughness, may end up commanding even bigger money thanks to its rarity and history. Number 7. Dodge Power Wagon, 1940s to 1950s. If there's one truck that screams toughness and history, it's the Dodge Power Wagon. Originally developed from the Dodge military trucks of World War II, the civilian Power Wagon debuted in 1946 and quickly earned a reputation as the ultimate workhorse. Farmers, ranchers, and construction crews relied on them for decades, and now collectors are fighting over them at auctions. What makes the Power Wagon special is its military DNA. With its flat fenders, 4x4 drivetrain, and heavy-duty frame, it looked like a war machine repurposed for civilian life. Because it basically was. These trucks could go anywhere, tow anything, and survive conditions that would destroy lesser vehicles. Because they were so rugged, most were used hard and worn out. That makes survivors extremely rare today. Finding an original Power Wagon in restorable condition is already difficult, and fully restored examples are commanding huge premiums. In recent years, high-end restorers like Legacy Classic Trucks have begun building Restomod Power Wagons with modern Cummins diesels, air conditioning, and luxury interiors. These trucks regularly sell for $250,000 to $500,000. Some analysts believe that as demand for vintage 4x4s grows, the best examples could push into million-dollar territory. The Power Wagon also has a cultural mystique. It represents post-war America, when toughness and utility defined the pickup market. Owning one is like owning a piece of history, a reminder of when trucks were built with no compromise. For collectors, it ticks every box: rarity, heritage, off-road capability, and visual presence. For investors, it has the one thing you can't fake: authenticity. And if Dodge's World War II-born Power Wagon is already skyrocketing, Toyota's Land Cruiser FJ40, the global legend of off-roading, is right behind it on the climb to million-dollar valuations. Number 6. Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40, 1960s to 1980s. The Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 might not have been born in America, but it has become one of the most desirable classic trucks among U.S. collectors. Built from the 1960s through the early 1980s, the FJ40 was Toyota's answer to the Jeep CJ and Land Rover Defender. It quickly earned a reputation as indestructible, and now its values are soaring. The FJ40's charm is in its simplicity and toughness. Powered by bulletproof inline-six engines, and paired with rugged 4x4 drivetrains, these trucks could tackle deserts, jungles, and mountain passes. They weren't fast, but they were unstoppable. That global reputation still fuels demand today. Collectors love the FJ40 because of its iconic styling. With round headlights, boxy proportions, and a utilitarian design, it strikes the perfect balance between form and function. Restorers and enthusiasts have elevated it into a fashion statement, a truck that looks just as good parked at a ranch as it does at a high-end resort. Prices have already skyrocketed. Just a decade ago, you could find a decent FJ40 for $15,000 to $20,000. Today, restored examples regularly sell for $80,000 to $120,000. High-end restorations by companies like the FJ Company can command $200,000 plus, and rare original condition survivors are becoming nearly priceless. What's pushing the FJ40 toward the $1 million mark is its global collector base. American muscle cars are mainly sought after in the US, but the FJ40 is loved worldwide. That international demand ensures that the best examples will only climb higher. And while Toyota perfected the global off-road icon, Jeep had its own hidden gem in the 1960s and 70s. The underrated Gladiator J Series, now finally getting the recognition it deserves. Number 5. Jeep Gladiator J Series, 1962 to 1988. Long before Jeep revived the Gladiator name in 2019, there was the original Jeep Gladiator J Series pickup. Produced from 1962 to 1988, these trucks were rugged, stylish, and versatile, but they spent decades overlooked by collectors. That's changing fast. The J Series stood out with its bold styling designed by Brooks Stevens, the same designer behind Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Studebaker cars. With a wide stance, clean lines, and optional four-wheel drive, it was both practical and ahead of its time. Mechanically, the Gladiator was tough. It shared much of its DNA with the Jeep Wagoneer, giving it solid axles, durable drivetrains, and plenty of off-road capability. Special editions like the Honcho package in the 1970s added unique graphics and styling that make them highly sought after today. For decades, these trucks were cheap beaters, used on farms and forgotten in barns. But collectors are waking up. Restored Gladiators have already crossed the $50,000 to $75,000 mark, and rare trims in pristine condition are climbing higher every year. With nostalgia for vintage Jeeps exploding, experts believe clean Gladiators could soon fetch six figures easily. What sets the J Series apart is its underdog status. Unlike the Bronco or C10, it hasn't been overexposed yet. That means there's room for rapid growth. As collectors look for the next big thing in vintage trucks, the Gladiator J Series is perfectly positioned to surge and perhaps one day hit the $1 million club. And while Jeep's Gladiator is an underrated riser, GMC's Sierra Grande and Chevy's Cheyenne Super 10 from the 1970s are already proving that rare luxury trim pickups can command collector car money. Number 4. GMC Sierra Grande / Chevy Cheyenne Super 10. 1970s luxury trims. In the 1970s, pickup trucks began shifting from pure workhorses to more comfortable daily drivers. Leading that transition were GM's Sierra Grande and Cheyenne Super 10 luxury trim packages. These weren't just trucks, they were statements. And today, they're becoming some of the hottest collectibles in the truck world. What made them special was the blend of utility and comfort. While most pickups of the era were bare bones, the Sierra Grande and Cheyenne Super 10 offered plush interiors, wood grain trim, padded dashboards, and extra chrome. They were the first trucks that felt at home in both the city and the countryside. Under the hood, they often carried GM's legendary small block and big block V8s. Combined with their stylish two-tone paint schemes and unique badging, they stood out immediately. Few were built compared to basework trucks, and even fewer survived in good condition. Most were still worked hard, despite their luxury status. Today, collectors are realizing just how rare these trims are. Clean, original examples are now fetching $50,000 to $80,000, and top-tier restorations have already crossed $100,000. Auction experts believe that as interest in vintage American trucks continues to grow, these luxury pioneers will soar in value. Why could they hit millions? It's all about cultural significance. They represent the moment when the American pickup transformed into more than just a tool. It became a lifestyle vehicle. That shift laid the groundwork for today's luxury trucks, making the Sierra Grande and Cheyenne Super 10 historically important. For investors, that combination of rarity, beauty, and cultural relevance is the recipe for explosive growth. Don't be surprised when you see one crossing the auction block in the future for jaw-dropping prices. And while GM's luxury trims captured a cultural moment, Ford's F-100 from the mid-1950s remains one of the most iconic, stylish, and valuable classic pickups ever built. Number 3. Ford F-100, 1953 to 1956 FE. Few classic trucks command as much admiration as the 1953 to 1956 Ford F-100, affectionately nicknamed the FE. This second-generation F-Series is considered by many to be the most beautiful truck Ford ever built, and collectors are driving values into the stratosphere. The 53 F-100 marked Ford's 50th anniversary, and it introduced smoother body lines, a wraparound windshield, and a more refined interior compared to earlier workhorse Fords. But it's the 1956 model year that truly stands out. With its single-year styling changes, including a unique wraparound rear window and bold grille, the 56 F-100 has become one of the most coveted classic pickups in the world. These trucks aren't just handsome, they're endlessly customizable. Hot rodders embraced the F-100 decades ago, stuffing in big block V8s, chopping roofs, and turning them into street machines. Restomod versions today often sell for $200,000 to $300,000 at auctions like Barrett-Jackson. Original, unmolested survivors are even more valuable. A pristine 1956 F-100 can already fetch over $100,000, and as the pool of untouched examples shrinks, values are only heading upward. Experts believe the rarest configurations, big window cabs with V8 engines and original paint, could soon break the million-dollar barrier. What makes the F-100 so special is its cross-market appeal. Collectors of muscle cars, hot rods, and classic trucks all want them. That broad demand creates a feeding frenzy whenever a high-quality example comes up for sale. For many Americans over 50, the F-100 isn't just a collectible, it's a symbol of their youth. It was the truck in small-town America, the one parked at diners, the one farmers drove proudly into town. That nostalgia, combined with rarity and style, ensures that the Effie is only going to get more expensive in the years ahead. And while Ford's F-100 represents timeless American style, Chevy's Cameo Carrier was the truck that redefined what a pickup could be, blending utility with elegance long before luxury trucks became a thing. Number 2. Chevrolet Cameo Carrier, 1955 to 1959. In the mid-1950s, Chevrolet introduced something radical, the Cameo Carrier. Built from 1955 to 1959, it was essentially the first luxury pickup, a truck that combined style with utility in a way no one had ever seen before. Today, it's considered one of the most collectible classic trucks in history. The Cameo stood out instantly. Instead of exposed steel bedsides, it featured smooth fiberglass panels that gave it a sleek, car-like appearance. With chrome trim, two-tone paint, and interiors that felt more Bel Air than bare bones, the Cameo blurred the line between car and truck. It was revolutionary. Under the hood, the Cameo used Chevy's reliable small-block V8, which made it capable as well as stylish. But its real value lay in its rarity. Only about 10,000 Cameos were ever produced across its 4-year run, and far fewer survive today in original or restorable condition. Back then, the Cameo was ahead of its time. Many buyers didn't understand why anyone would pay more for a fancy truck, and sales lagged. But in hindsight, that uniqueness is exactly why collectors now treasure them. At auctions, Cameos have already crossed the $100,000 to $150,000 mark for pristine examples. Special editions or those with ultra-rare factory options are pushing even higher. Experts predict that as demand for stylish, mid-century vehicles grows, the Cameo will join the million-dollar club. Its cultural importance can't be overstated. The Cameo paved the way for today's luxury trucks, from the GMC Denali to the Ford Platinum, proving that pickups could be aspirational as well as practical. For collectors, the Cameo Carrier isn't just a truck. It's a piece of design history, a bold experiment that reshaped the market. And when the rarest examples cross the block in the coming years, don't be surprised to see them reach 7 figures. And while the Cameo redefined luxury, Dodge shocked the market in the late 1970s with a truck so bold, so outrageous, that it became an instant collectible, the Lil Red Express. Number 1. Dodge Lil Red Express, 1978 to 1979. In an era when emissions regulations were choking the life out of performance cars, Dodge pulled off something brilliant and a little rebellious. The 1978 to 1979 Dodge Lil Red Express was a muscle truck that slipped through regulatory loopholes to become the fastest American vehicle you could buy in its day. Yes, faster than Corvettes, Camaros, and Mustangs of the era. The Lil Red Express stood out immediately with its bright red paint, gold striping, wood-trimmed bed, and vertical chrome exhaust stacks. It wasn't just a truck, it was a statement. Dodge marketed it directly at enthusiasts who missed performance cars but still wanted something with attitude. Under the hood sat a 360 cubic inch V8 tuned with police spec parts. With no catalytic converters in 1978, thanks to a loophole, the Lil Red Express cranked out serious power for the time. Magazine tests proved it could hit 100 miles per hour faster than anything else on the showroom floor. Only about 7,000 units were built across the 2-year run, making it rare right from the start. Survivors are highly collectible, and restored examples already fetch $50,000 to $90,000. The most pristine trucks, with original paint and low miles, are climbing rapidly past $100,000. What makes the Lil Red Express a candidate for million-dollar status is its uniqueness. It wasn't just a truck, it was the first true American muscle pickup. That cultural cachet, combined with rarity and wild styling, makes it irresistible to collectors. As values of muscle cars from the 60s and 70s continue to climb, the Lil Red Express is perfectly positioned to ride that wave straight into seven-figure territory. For collectors, it represents rebellion, performance, and fun at a time when most vehicles were neutered by regulations. For investors, it's one of the clearest bets in the classic truck market. And there you have it, the 9 classic trucks that could soon be worth millions. From Ford's rugged first-gen Bronco and Dodge's legendary Power Wagon, to Toyota's indestructible FJ40, to Chevy's stylish Cameo, and Dodge's outrageous Lil Red Express. These trucks prove that history has a funny way of rewarding the vehicles we once took for granted. What were once farm tools and workhorses are now rolling pieces of art and investment opportunities. For collectors, the message is clear. If you've got one of these classics in your garage, hold on to it, because its value is only going up. And if you're looking to invest, now's the time to get in before these trucks join the seven-figure club. Which of these would you want to own? Or better yet, which one do you regret selling back in the day? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories on the cars and trucks shaping history.